So the approval of the regular minutes of October 3rd, 2020. I trust you've had an opportunity to look through those. I'd like to have an entertainment to approve those.
I make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Billy Dowdis has been our bill checker, and
You got a couple big ticket items there. You got the tax, tourism, hotel, 91. Next page, you have a lot of bond payments that's come due. That's what the big sticker at the end, so high. But I approve them.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we've right got down to the visitors. Anybody that wants to address the city council, you're welcome to. Please come up to the microphone here, tell who you are and what your business is.
My name's Tim Elliott. I'm past commander, American Legion. I'm a combat veteran, 22 years. I'm still kind of stuck on some stuff way back when. I'm not here to cause a problem. I just have some questions. I want to explain what we are as veterans. Number one, excuse me. Number two, as leaders, where we need to be at. We just all said the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation, under God, indivisible. We shouldn't be divided, okay? I can't hardly believe a situation that happened up here. Excuse me. In the military, you cannot lead by riding the coattails of the leaders ahead of you or behind you. These previous leaders have made their own mistakes, they've learned from them, and they accept them. Acceptance is key. You must always lead by example. That is when you don't blame, you take it all in as a leader. Everything, the good and the bad, period. You accept it. Exception is the key for the positive completion of the task. You're here as city council, you have many tasks, correct? Take the good and the bad, learn from the good, change the bad. If you don't, it'll only equal to defeat.
Right.
What are veterans? And I felt like I really need to say this because I'm really stuck on something that happened here, okay? We are the ones who left our homes as teenagers or in our early 20s for an unknown adventure. Veterans, yeah. We love our country enough to defend it with our own lives. We signed a contract to give the ultimate. And I guess one of the things that was said up here that really bothered me is I think of all the men I left on the wall so that you were allowed to say these things. You know, when you look at our government, correct, at the top levels where we're at, I'm not going to get into politics. But when we come home, we should in our own cities, be able to depend on our local government. If you take a veteran, we're less than 0.01% of the population. But when you take a veteran and four people in his family, his direct family, 2 children and a wife, you take his grandma, his grandpa, the people that care, that worry, and they have their own thoughts. We all do, correct?
Yes.
I'm not here to change anybody's thoughts, but that equals over 39% of the population. When I leave a soldier on a wall because he's no longer with me, when he comes home, it's not just, we lost 13 guys today, right? Think of all the people that man affects, or that lady. I'll continue on. We say goodbye to friends and family and everything we know. We learned the basics, and then we scattered into the winds all around the world to make it so we can have the freedoms that we have here. We found new friends and family. We became brothers and sisters, excuse me, regardless of color, race, or creed. We had plenty of good times and plenty of bad. We don't get enough sleep. We don't get enough food. You can go back to World War II, Battle of the Bulge. No food, no clothes, so on and so forth. We picked up both good and bad habits. We worked hard and we played harder. We didn't earn a great wage. We experienced the happiness of mail call and the sadness of missing important events, which today your veterans come home and they still miss those events because they're not mentally capable of going to them or being in crowds, anger issues, so on and so forth. And I'm not asking for sympathy for them. It's just a key point. We don't know when or even if we were ever going to see home again. We grew up fast, and yet somehow we never grew up at all. We fought for our freedoms as well as the freedoms for others. So when people come to this, I heard you say, sir, that, you know, you come up here and speak, so on and so forth. I could cut your time down, or I don't want to. That's great. But when someone will walk off your council here outside and confront a person for the way they believe, sickening. Totally sickening. Is there an agreement there that one of you would follow someone out of this building and confront a person for what they believe in? We fought for our freedom as well as freedom of others. Some of us seen combat, some of us didn't. Some of us dealt with physical warfare, but all of us dealt with the psychological warfare of being in war. That goes back to what I said, when we come home, we should be able to depend. We're not asking for handouts or anything. We should be able to depend on our own government in our small city to do the things that are right. I know there's choices that have to be made, and like I said, you all make decisions, and that's your vote. But going back to, if a person would follow that's being paid 20 minutes to 40 minutes for a meeting to follow a person out the door, or when we apologize for things said, making it that it's so-and-so's fault, that goes back to leadership. Sir, it's on you because you're the leader, correct?
I
And
apologize.
I'm sure you take care of it. But Teresa Music, she didn't start this. Teresa Music brought this forward to the eyes of veterans. We don't go to that place. You know why? You know how many plates out there of people that brought me up as a veteran? Or the 7 plates that I have out there of soldiers that I didn't bring home? Does that matter to you? It should, because I'm part of your community, correct? Is that correct, ma'am? Really? Problem. We count on each other to get our job done and sometimes to survive it at all. We have dealt with victories and tragedies. We have celebrated and mourned. We have dealt with victories and tragedies. To me, that's a tragedy, ma'am. And you were wrong.
Please address the whole council, Tim.
Well, she's giving me this look like,
Do you realize that I offer an apology after
yeah, but
the
when
next meeting?
No problem. Not a problem. Let me finish then.
Okay, please.
We lost a few along the way. When our ventures are over, some of us went back home, some of us started somewhere else, and some of us never came home at all. Not just physically, but also mentally. We share an unspoken bond with each other. that most people don't experience and few will never understand. And I wish I could explain that to you so people could understand it. People that stand up for me, I will always stand up for them. People that don't stand up for me, I will still stand up for you. And that's how I feel as a human being, not just a veteran. You know, we were taught when we were children, do unto others as you will have others do unto you, correct? So if we're having a meeting and things are negative, right? So a man comes back in here, what's he gonna be? He'll be negative, won't he? Being a veteran is just something that's earned. I'm not even gonna continue on with this. I just hope that things get right. You know, I seen some drone photos of something. I was told I was gonna live for a year to 5 years when we started talking to the Veterans Park. I had a year to 5 to live. So I went home. I'm from Oregon. I came here in 1984 because you know why? Well, number one, I said we have good times. I thought the women of Grayson County were beautiful. You know, they were just beautiful. I come here with Pat Douthit. I left here twice. Besides the military, I married my wife. Her name's Paula Elliott. She was a Douthit. We've been married for 30 years. I took her to Oregon. She went to metallurgy school. But guess where we came back to? 2 years after she was done, we came back to Leitchfield, Kentucky. When I found out that I was going to live, I bought a beautiful home up in the mountains, coastal range in Oregon. You take a ride out of my driveway, at 12 miles, I'm at the ocean. You take a left, I'm in the Willamette Valley. I have pictures of elk that would spar in front of my house. But you know what? When I found out I was going to live, you know where I came back to?
Grayson County.
Yes. You know why? Because I came here a long time ago and I loved it here. But the things I'm seeing just drive me crazy. And that's all I have to say to y'all. Thank you for your time.
Tim, thank you very much. Thank you for your service. My dad went to World War II, served in Italy and North Africa. He had a nervous breakdown when he come back. And I appreciate it. I enlisted in 1969, but they turned me down because I had a health issue. I appreciate your service and all the veterans that are sitting here service.
Excuse me, sir. I just wanted to make it one point.
Okay.
On this. It's not just about veterans. This is about our community. This is about all of us. Who we are, what we stand for. That's all I wanted people to know, what we stand for. If our government above you, say in the state, is doing this, guess what? You're a leader, you're gonna say, hey, here's what we're gonna look at, and this is what we need to do. And the state should do from the federal government, hey, you guys are the leaders. You're the ones in charge of making things happen. And it's not always a good path. And like I said, when we make the mistakes, we just accept them and we learn from them.
And move on.
We lose.
Thank you, Tim. Anybody else want to come up before the council?
I just have an event notice. You know me, I like to do stuff early in advance. December 3rd, we're gonna be having our hometown Christmas parade again that morning at 10 o'clock. So I have a letter for Chief Riley. He usually provides,
Escort.
an escort. And then I also have one for the Shop Local event that we're gonna do again. It's our second annual. It will be on the square. We're gonna extend the hours from, it will be 5 to 9 this year instead of 5 to 8. So I'll just need you guys to sign a letter, Mayor, and then also Chief Riley. And you guys, I'm just gonna give them to you. It has I have you a copy, and then I also have the, road closure. So that one goes to you. I'll just come back and get it tomorrow. If you can sign both of them, they're both
That'd be
in there.
fine.
But that's really all that we need. And then Wes usually provides us with road closures on the night of. So, just wanted to let you guys know.
Thank you, April. Anybody else want to come appear before the council before we move on? Marty?
Yes, I'm Marty Higdon. business owner in the city of Leitchfield. I had approached the mayor about 6 or 7 months ago about 2 acres of property over on the bypass. The worst piece of that property over there, the tail end, comes to a little point, power lines over the top of it. It's all grown up, it's kind of separated from the rest of the property that the city bought to build the police station and city hall. And I've talked to the mayor a few times about it. He told me that in order to sell the property, they would at least have to get their money back out of it. And I'd checked into it a little bit and before I talked to the mayor, and I told him that I would give $20,000 per acre for the 2 acres that's kind of useless to the rest of that property. And he said he would talk to the councils about it and they'd get back with me. He seemed to think $20,000 an acre for the property would be a good price, and that's more than what was paid for it. If you figure an average on the whole thing, taking the 2 houses, the garages, and all that stuff and put it together with that up there, it may have been more than $20,000 an acre. But I've never had anybody from the council or anything to call me, try to negotiate, to let me know anything about the property. I did make the statement that I would like to try to find out something about it before the election. Maybe there's a chance I might get elected on city council, and if so, it would be a conflict of interest if I tried to buy it. This has dragged on, like I said, it's probably been 8 months, I guess, because my daughter's been in the hospital about 5 months, and I've been with her, but it was a pretty good time before that. And I would like to ask you all, have you all heard anything about the 2 acres of property and the offer that I made on it?
Let me respond, Marty.
Has anybody heard anything about this offer on this property?
I think we all heard about it back whenever you was making the offer.
Okay,
And I think at the time, we decided that we wanted to try to sell all the property together as one lump sum.
why would this even interfere with the sale of the rest of it? It was a separate piece of property from the other 2 sections off by itself.
Marty, at the time that you propositioned that to me, you were wanting to move that house. That house was still there that you had bought.
No, sir, it wasn't. That house has been gone for over a year.
Well,
Over a year, and it had nothing to do with that house. That house has been sitting over here in the subdivision for over a year, and I've been rebuilding it. It had nothing to do with that, and I was not gonna move that house over there. You know, and if you thought that was my intentions, you should have asked me about it. I told you I'd like to build an office over there, is what I said. And, you know, I don't understand why, you know, we've got 6 people here on the council plus the mayor. Why couldn't anybody have reached out to me and said anything to me about it? You know, like this man said, you guys are the leaders. You all lead the city of Leitchfield, and the least you could do, if somebody came up and made an offer, which the mayor told me that it had to be what you gave for it, when I offered more than you gave for it, that should have been a reason for you all to say, hey, let's check with this guy. We can sell him this 2 acres and we can turn around. That's the worst part of the ground, and we can still get the same money out of these guys for the motel, for the rest of it. You know, if we were using our head, you know, and we were thinking ahead on this, that,
was there any discussion between you and I about the city services to which that property does not have?
no, sir.
I thought we.
You said at one time that you were trying to get an easement from Jerry Frame.
Yeah, and
To put
there was
in
no
sewer.
service.
I didn't ask about the sewer, I didn't
It was
ask
gonna
about.
cost us more
I didn't
to-
ask about anything. I wasn't concerned with that.
It was gonna cost
I was
us more to get
concerned with-
services to that
but-
property than
But
what it cost us.
that had nothing to do with what I offered. That wasn't a contingency that you have to get me sewer and water over here in order for me to buy that. I never said that. I said I will give you $20,000 an acre for that property. Is that not correct? I didn't ask about the sewer.
I don't remember the details.
Okay. apparently you don't, or everybody here would have heard something about this. That's all I got to say. I didn't come here to cause problems. I just came here to see why you people wouldn't want me to buy that 2 acres of property when I offered more money than what you gave for it. Thank you for that.
Let me tell you, Mark, I'm like Tootie, I think we heard something about it, but I didn't know it was you. I didn't know he's the one that made the offer.
But would you want to follow up on it, say, hey, we need to talk to this person, bring him into a meeting or closed doors or something, and talk to him about this? Maybe he's interested in the whole thing, you know. And as far as that, why wasn't it shared with the rest of the council if, you know?
We got a prospective buyer, Marty.
I
and
understand that
and
now
I
you do.
off-
At that time, you didn't have
I
any.
offered to sell him just a part of that, and he said he wanted it all. And the community is gonna be blessed by what's going over there. That's important as a new industry coming here.
Well, you could have had this sold, the rest of the property, and you could have said, here, I'll sell you all of it. Though that 2 acres wouldn't have been involved in it at the time you talked to this man. And he would have said, well, yeah, all I want is 4 acres, I think you said is all he needed, and he's gonna take the rest of it for out parcels, and he's gonna sell it off for a big price, which you guys could have done that. You know, sold him the 4 or 5 acres for a motel, and you kept that property, and the city could have made the profits once that motel went in.
We could have, but he wanted all of it, 17 acres.
Well, you know, if I'd bought 2 acres for that, it'd been 15, and you could have let him have it all. See, this was way before he came along with that deal. You know, it would have been 15 acres, and you could have said, yes, sir, I'll sell you all 15. Thank you guys for your time. I'm sorry if you think I'm a troublemaker or something, but I
Hope your
have
doc-
questions, and I wanted to,
Hope your daughter's better.
pardon?
Hope your daughter's better.
She is better. She's at home,
I knew
and
she
spent her
was.
first week in school last week for the year.
Thank you.
guys.
Anybody else? Now, Nancy, I've got yours on the agenda in just a minute. The planning and zoning thing.
I just want to,
Tell your name, son.
my name is Gary Blaylock.
Yeah.
I was here last month with the rest of the veterans when we were here talking about the park. I just have one concern that was brought up to me afterwards, after I left the podium last time. If you haven't heard it, if you don't know about it, I advise you to watch the tape and watch me walk up here, talk to you guys, and then watch as I leave and just listen. Turn the volume all the way up and listen. There's 2 council members that were up here. They said they're here to cause trouble. Talking about the veterans, they're here to cause trouble. And I wanted you to be aware of that, that's what that happened. And you can hear and then you can hear the woman say that they're here to cause trouble. Then you can hear the gentleman next to her go, yeah, they are.
Now, I didn't hear, yeah, they are. It was kind of just a burr. And the next meeting, Gary, I offer an apology on the behalf of the council to any veterans that may have been offended by what was said. A lot of people didn't realize, but we had met in the executive session room that day for about an hour and a half on Veterans Affairs. And I asked the people who attended, are you pleased with our decision? We were talking about the flag and stuff. Yes, we are, but I said, is it necessary that you come to the council meeting tonight? Yes, we just want to come and thank the council for the good job that they've done at the Veterans Park, was the very words that I was told. And that was not what happened. And there's nobody here at all wants to offend veterans, Gary. And for a person to imply that, they're surely mistaken.
And I just wanted to bring it up because I was brought in and I was asked to be here for that particular meeting
Yeah.
because of my background and what I know. And as soon as, and everything I did mention,
I remember you being here.
and when everything I did mention, those corrections were made.
That's right.
Before
And-
that.
and the
I
Veteran
wanna
Park-
thank you guys for actually fulfilling those corrections and doing the public notices and everything like you're supposed to.
The Veterans Park is looking good. I was just over there. And like I said, we're supposed to have the track blacktop, then we're gonna reattach that bench to this other sidewalk, make it ADA compliant. The lighting has just came in. The rest of the lighting, the pavers are fixed, and it's really looking good. You know how long the flag's been tore up, Gary?
I have no idea.
13 years. 13 years.
If I don't know, I don't.
13 years ago.
Well, that's what I was told 13 years ago.
It's not that old.
Flag.
How many was
Maybe
it?
it's not
That
here
old.
first.
Flagpole.
But anyways,
Years ago.
Mistakes happen.
About
Mistakes
8 years
happen.
ago, about 8 years ago.
Mistakes happen. But anyway, it's been corrected.
It's been fixed.
There we go. So,
Yeah. Thank
I
you,
just wanted
Gary.
to bring that to your attention, because that was brought to me, and I missed the last meeting. I wasn't able to attend, so I was wanting to bring it up
Thank you, Gary.
because
Thank
it
you
was
for
brought
coming.
up. So,
Okay. Okay, who else?
I'd just like to know when the fire hydrants are gonna be corrected. Or is that gonna be left?
I've asked the fire chief to order the paint, the correct paint, for those gonna be painted. So, ma'am?
When was that ordered?
No, I asked him to order the paint, and
Oh, it hasn't been ordered yet?
I asked him Friday.
There
he-
was a home in Leitchfield that burned down to the ground. And the fire hydrants.
Honey, there may be one burned down tonight. The fire hydrants the fire hydrants are not working because they've been painted. They're still working, and they're still,
But our firemen don't know what gallons permitted is coming out of that hydrant when they pulled up on it.
that didn't hinder the fighting of that fire.
Are you a firefighter? Did you check?
I was a firefighter at one time, and when I started,
You should have known what color to paint the hydrants.
well, somebody should have told me. I painted those for over 3 weeks when Chester called me and said, Rick, those are supposed to be color
And you
coded.
continue to paint the rest of the.
I finished the rest of them up.
Let me tell you a little history on it. When Kevin was the superintendent for the utilities, we went for an ISO rating. And the ISO rating had a part in it that you needed gallons, the volume, and paint the very tops of the fire hydrants, whatever, yes, that comes out that hydrant. Most of the hydrants here are excellent. I mean, we're lucky on what we do have, where we have it. But evidently in the transition, whenever they thought the fire hydrant started looking bad, they didn't pay no attention to all the different colored tops that the guy was painting the fire hydrant, so he just painted it off.
Wouldn't that be something that you would want to know?
Oh, yes, and that's what it's like during that transition from Kevin to Dwight to.
Or moon, or.
Yes, I agree 100% on that.
Raise the tax dollars.
But like I said, that's the history of how they
And they
became
haven't-
the color. They were always red until Kevin, we did an ISO rating to lowered it. We did it for the rating and lowered it, and that's why we done it. So,
Do we have a date when they're gonna be corrected?
I've asked Tim to order the paint, because
But it hasn't been ordered.
probably now they're probably gonna have to repressure them. They've not checked them in 2 years.
they
They
supposed,
haven't checked any of the fire hydrants?
No, and as far as
Ordinance, that's supposed to be done annually.
my understanding,
20% annual.
Really?
20,
They have checked.
Yes,
they have said so?
Yeah, you don't check them all anymore.
There's 20% when it moved.
ISO sends a number of hydrants and what hydrants to check. Every hydrant's got a number on
Right.
it, and they've got records of what pressure will come out that hydrant. All they need to do is just look it up.
Look on an app to make sure when they have service.
Yeah.
There's some parts that what happens when there's a blackout and they don't have access? That happened here not too long ago.
We have hydrant books in the trucks.
So they have to look it up in a book.
Yeah, well, it's just just like we have any kind of protocol book or,
It seems to me like that puts the residents at risk. When a fireman pulls up on the scene, he can't look to see what's coming, what hydrant he's supposed to hook up to.
well, it ain't like we got a lot to choose from in that area wherever we go. Yeah, unless you're downtown, that's where you're gonna hit your big lines. So, right, Moon? I mean, it's,
And some of the city is on county water. We don't have no control over that.
Right.
Anything else, Angela?
Well, speaking of water, why is our water loss 29.9% when the county's is only 11? Has anybody checked for water leaks? Is that something that's? being
There's water leaks everywhere, Angela. We just found 2 right across the street. We've hired a satellite service to identify water leaks. And a lot of our water lines, I did have a piece of pipe in the lobby. Some of our water lines was put in the 30s. And,
That's been a problem ever since I've been here.
yeah.
Wouldn't it make financial sense to fix those water lines when we're losing $650,000 a year
They
with
keep,
water loss?
they keep a record
Yeah.
of breaks and identify where there's a lot of breaks at. They just fixed one out my street.
Corrected and fixed, because it looks to me like.
Do you-
water
you wanna
loss
come
has
up to the
been
microphone
30%
and-
For a long time.
I don't know what you're wanting to,
I just wanna know when you all are gonna fix the water leaks in the city.
we fix water leaks almost every day. We-
Raise our taxes, but there's $650 a year being lost with the water loss.
The fire hydrant painting and the water leaks don't come from a penny of your taxes. It comes from revenue generated by sewer and water and gas sales.
I pay sewer and water and gas.
It's not
You're
tax,
telling me it doesn't come from me?
it's not taxes, it's a service charge, it's what you get for water.
It's still
Pay-
coming from the citizens. If that money
I'm-
wasn't being spent, then our utilities wouldn't be as expensive as they are, or they shouldn't be.
We got some of the lower utilities in the state, and our property taxes are half what they are in the state.
Just seems like there's a lot of issues that aren't being addressed at all.
Angela, I think that if you go around the city, everywhere you go, the roads has been dug up where they put in new lines.
There's a water leak down 54, you can see it bubbling out of the ground. It's been like that for 2 years. I know it has been, because I've asked several people what it was. It's still there. You can see it.
That needs to be brought to our.
I mean, it's easy to check. They drop a little peel in it, and if it's got chlorine in it, it's treated water, and if it don't, you'll get some other problem, spraying or.
Anybody else? Are you done?
I am for now.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor? if
Yes,
I could
sir.
take 1 minute to correct something that might have been said a while ago.
Okay.
Just like, you mentioned the house.
Yes.
And I think you might have been wanting to say it was ugly or something like that, that I was gonna move over there. But anyway, I would like to show the council a picture of the house
Now,
that was moved.
is that before you moved it or now?
This is now.
Now, why, yeah,
Well, what I'm saying, had I moved this over there, would there have been
I've seen it.
anything
I've
wrong
seen
with
it.
that house? And it's got grass up today. But anyway, after you said something about the house, it started making me think that something was wrong with the house. Anyway,
what'd you give us for the house, Marty?
that doesn't matter.
I mean, how much was it, $500?
And I tore a house down and hauled it off and filled that in, but
Yeah.
nobody else would give you what I got. Right?
Well, I was glad to get rid of it, and I didn't want it
But
setting,
anyway,
I didn't want it sitting down on the
Yeah, I'm
bypass.
saying right here is what it looks like now.
It looks nice.
And wherever I put it, it would have looked this nice.
Thank you, Marty. Anybody else? We're gonna move on now. Okay, we're down to approval of the July and August 2022 financial statement. You have that in your packet?
So moved.
Second? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Moon?
Thank you.
Digger.
Okay, this is a property to which we annexed off of Shrewsbury Road that belonged to April Bowman. And we annexed her. She's on the Planning and Zoning Board, but it had to be a classification. And this is what this is. And you have a package for that in your package. Recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission, RZ 22-111-103, Blue Chip Farm Road, to establish a zone classification of R2, single family medium density. This is basically what the property is being used for. And as usual, I'd like for you to make a motion approving what the Planning and Zoning Board's recommended.
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Second.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Mayor, that's actually an ordinance, that requires a first and second reading.
this is the first, or did we,
Yes.
this is second?
No, this is a first reading, it's the October 17th, and I'll need to read that, Mayor.
You gonna read it?
Yes, An ordinance amending and adopting an amended zoning map entitled zoning map, Leitchfield, Kentucky, by establishing the district classification of the property located in Leitchfield, Kentucky is hereinafter described R2, single-family medium density, whereas Leitchfield Planning Commission of Leitchfield, Kentucky, on October 10th, 2022, held a public hearing on application number RZ 22, 111. The property is currently owned by Brian and April Bowman and is designated as property having a PBA number 075-00-00-071, being more particularly described in deed book 418, page 284, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at 103 Blue Chip Farm Road, Litchfield, Kentucky. The request asks for a district classification of R-2, single-family medium density, and whereas city council members conducted a review of the record and evidence presented before the Litchfield Planning Commission, and its recommendation is that the zoning map amendment be approved as affects this property. Its recommendation is attached and incorporated herein by reference, and now therefore be it ordained by the city of Litchfield, Kentucky as follows. Boundaries of the district as shown in the district map entitled zoning map, Litchfield, Kentucky, be and same as hereby amended for reasons adopted, all of which is made a part hereof is fully set out herein, including the zoning request from the Planning Commission dated 10/10/2022 to the Litchfield City Council. So the property is described as follows. Property description, refer to property description PBA number 075-00-00-071. Deed book 418, page 284, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at 103 Blue Chip Farm Road, Litchfield, Kentucky, 42754, now zoned R-2, single-family medium density after the adoption of this ordinance. And this is a first reading, so we'll actually vote on that at the next meeting.
Okay, there's nothing for us to do now?
No, sir.
Okay, we also have on our agenda something we looked at our last meeting. Recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission, 1000 K Mill Road to rezone from R2, single-family medium density to B1, neighborhood business. And the Planning and Zoning Board sent that back to us like they did before and did not grant the request to a change to that.
And Mayor, you'll need to take a vote on that, approving the recommendation.
I've been down here almost 4 years. I've always recommended that we go by the Planning and Zoning Board recommendation unless there's an outstanding reason that we shouldn't. Do I hear a motion?
Wait a minute, Nancy's got something.
I feel like maybe we should have came up first. That'd have been an option. So, first of all, I want to mention that Nancy and I did not understand that she could even have I didn't know that you could go to the planning and zoning meeting the first time this property was discussed. And maybe that would have solved a lot of issues, but we weren't aware of that. I just found out that she put in an application, it was denied, and we were instructed to come here and talk to you guys because essentially you all have the authority to override planning and zoning. But when we did go to the meeting, they wouldn't approve the zone change based on two factors. They said that it didn't meet KRS 100.213, which basically means that it's not in agreement with the adopted comprehensive plan. The zone change is a part of the existing comprehensive plan, and they mentioned spot zoning. So that would be rezoning a parcel of land to benefit a landowner for use incompatible with surrounding land uses that do not meet the goals of the comprehensive plan again. I asked for them to expand on that, and the reasoning that was given to us was that they were fearful that others would ask for similar zone changes. When I asked the members if they were aware of any other building like this one in the city limits that were zoned residential but could not function as a residence in the current condition, that could truly only function as a business or a church, their answer was there was none to their knowledge. So I don't understand why there would be fear that other people would come forward and want a rezoning if there's not another building like this in the city limits that's actually built as an office building, but it's zoned residential. So I didn't understand why that was an issue. The next thing, Mr. I think it was Mr. Bocock, had made the argument that, well, maybe some other small churches might request to be rezoned, but any small church in the city is probably gonna be a smaller, older building that would be in need of rehab anyway. This building is not in need of rehab. It really is, something needs to be in there right now, generating revenue for the city.
Exactly.
I mean, is it fair to say that with it being in the city limits, if there was a thriving business in there, that it would generate revenue for the city? Is it 6%? Is that what the city would get?
We don't, unless it's a food, alcohol, 6%.
So if a business operates in the city, they don't pay any taxes?
They got a business license, and they
Okay.
pay a net profits tax.
Okay, I guess that's what I'm
Yeah.
referring to. So there would be a net profit tax that a business would pay.
You know, a business in that area is not compatible with the neighborhood to which it's being placed at. And I'm not taking no side. I love to see Nancy have that out there. I love Nancy, she's almost kin. And I'm just working on the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Board. And it's not as simple as saying, well, we're gonna grant Nancy a business zone change. It's not that simple. We have three options. We can approve the recommendation, which I've done for 4 years. We can go against it, but that doesn't change it to commercial. And we can start our own, what would you call that, Tyler? We could start our own. We can have our own hearing and stuff and go through the same thing that they've done. But we have hired and appointed, not hired, but we have appointed those people for the purpose of bringing the best recommendation they can before the board, city council. And that's the reason most council members take it upon themselves not to attend these meetings. I don't want to sit over there and influence the board members on the Planning and Zoning Board. I like Nancy, I like what she's doing, and say, boys, I want y'all to do this, change this to business. That's not my position. My position is depend on department heads, whether it's a police chief, the public works superintendent, my attorney, our finance officer, is take their recommendation.
Okay,
But-
do you understand that they keep encouraging us to come and talk to you all and I feel like there must be a reason for that. There must be a reason that they don't want to do it, but they're telling us that you all have the authority and the power to do it.
But that's a
And
free-
this
sure.
is a very, unique piece of property, and I feel like this is
I drove out there and looked
insinuating-
at it. I drove and turned around in the driveway there.
Wasn't it built to the church?
It was built as a
Yes.
church, that's right.
And the church can be built in any place,
Right, that's true.
any neighborhood, the way I
However,
understand.
the PBA
That's
has
right.
it classified as commercial.
Yeah, the
And she-
PVA is different than
that's
us, though.
different.
When you bought it, did you know that it was not zoned commercial?
At the PBA office, it was
No,
classified as.
did you talk to Tyler before you bought it and ask
No, I
him?
did not.
She didn't know what it was on. All she knew was that PVA has it classified as commercial. She thought she was buying a commercial piece of property. And now, when she's trying to sell it, she's finding out that it's in a residential area and it's zoned R2, actually. We thought it was R1.
I just misunderstood from Tyler then, because I was told that you'd called him before you bought the property
No.
to make.
I did not.
Now that, I wasn't part of that, so I don't know. But I know that, like I said, while we were there, it even got brought up, by one of the members of the committee that this should have been changed when the church had it. So if it should have and could have been done then, why can't it be done now?
I don't know what it could have been changed to then.
I don't
because it
understand
didn't
that
meet
neither.
any qualifications of, they're using the same standard now to which they would have had then.
But the comment was made that, well, it should have been changed when the church had it.
Well, they should have changed it, Planning and Zoning Board to send it over that way.
Why does PVA have it then? And I know what Billy's saying, but I know PVA runs on zoning also, but they've got it listed as commercial.
They do.
They've always had it listed as commercial from day one.
Wesley, can you help him out on that?
And doesn't that also mean that she's paying commercial, she's not paying city sewer, city water, city utilities either? Like
So,
as a
the
business?
PVA, they don't do zoning, they do classification based off of structure. They have 3 classifications: agriculture, commercial, residential.
Okay,
The structure was not built for residential, it's obviously
No.
not agriculture. So they classified it under their classification as commercial. If you read further down on the PVA, there is a section there for zoning, which the PVA does not put what zone is, because they don't know what.
County don't have zoning.
So,
so it's in the city.
but our zoning map shows it as R2 residential, which you have.
Yeah.
But that's where the PVA comes in. They don't classify a zone, they classify the structure that's on the property. That's all they do. And there's no tax difference between a commercial and a residential.
Okay.
Okay.
Even with the utilities, you're not paying, see, like where my place is, I have to, I'm paying higher, water and
You have a
I'm paying
business
sewer,
license.
yes, yeah.
So you have commercial utilities.
So if she, so
If
because she
had a
doesn't have it,
business, Then she would have to
Would,
apply for
was a
commercial.
business
Gotcha.
license.
okay,
Higher rate.
Which the only rate difference is garbage.
okay.
Water and sewer is the same rate.
Do you have anything?
Well, I would just like to, again, ask that you would consider making this exception, because it is not a residential building. It has an auditorium. It's about 2,200 square feet. It has a small conference room, women's bathroom, and a men's bathroom, and a small reception area, a large parking lot, and about 3 acres of land. There's no, it's not a house with building materials, and it's no way to make a home out of it. You just have to start from scratch. So unless it could be a church, as it is now, or, a venue of some type, conference area, I mean, be ideal for something like that.
That's what I'd use it for.
Yeah.
I'd go and do it and use it for that.
Have you
And
talked to any of your neighbors to understand how they feel about the zone, like?
Well, no, I haven't, but no, I was told that
Then
no
nobody show
one
up.
objected either time that I applied. So I'm taking that there is no opposition. So,
I live in that area, I don't have opposition.
thank you.
I live over that way too,
Well, I do too.
I appreciate that.
But
I
it's
surely
an
do.
issue, I mean, I think it's a special situation. Like I said, I don't know of another building in the city limits that's zone residential that's like this building that could truly function as a business.
And it would be an asset to the community. There's a need, a real need.
And honestly, if a church around here was interested in it and had the money to buy it as a church, that would have already happened. It's been for sale. I mean, she had it for sale for months. And it didn't sell. So it's just sitting there in the city limits. And I think it should be, I mean, as council members, it's your all's business, and
Nancy, what
concern.
about that group that was gonna try to sit over there by your house? That was gonna have a woman's ministry in the old Vic Harnett house. Would that be not, those people be good candidates for that? That Vic Harnett property?
That property was donated by my daughter
I mean,
to
when
for
that group,
ministry.
wouldn't that be a
Then stop
good
it.
group to go out there?
Well, that property was donated for that purpose.
I mean, I know, they're in a house that I own.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're renting the Charlie Payne house, but I mean, to me, that would be ideal. That would be an ideal location for them.
Well, I mean, it'd
It's
be
a
an
modern-
ideal location for a lot of different things.
Yeah, it'd be a nice, you know,
If the zoning were changed.
No,
Well-
it could be used right now as a venue.
Absolutely.
It can be,
Yeah.
under the current zoning, it can be used as a venue.
I hate to,
I thought it could only be a church or a daycare for 4 kids or a house.
It would have to be rezoned in order to be used as a venue. Right now.
Yes, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to
One
get
zone
it.
to what?
Business zone. Right now, it's a residential zone. They're
It's-
requesting it to be changed to business.
I give you, each of you a paper in the front of you that, what they're wanting to change to B1. And what's on this page right here is everything that she could do with that property.
Right now, it can be a house, which it can't be because it has no laundry, no bathtub, no shower. It can't
No
function,
kitchen.
it can't function as a house. Or it can be a church or a daycare for 4 kids,
Right.
For 4 kids.
for 4 kids.
Impossible.
If it were,
Please consider it.
if it were rezoned to be 1, it could be a venue, which and then, you know, we would have potentially have a thriving business right there instead of a vacant building that's just sitting there.
I
That
mean-
she's paying.
Nice parking lot.
Do you have someone interested in it already that would fit in with this B1?
Absolutely. Lots. For small weddings, birthday parties.
But it's like a purchaser, someone that's wanting to purchase it right now?
No,
I have a potential interested
I'm
party in
not,
it, yes.
oh, I'm not aware of it. It's news to me.
I don't tell everything I know.
Thank y'all, Nancy.
But really, it's a problem.
We'd
And
love,
I-
we'd love to see somebody in it. I'm a business person.
Here's where I am on it, okay, right now. It's not because of politics, it's nothing. I sympathize, okay, with you 100%. It's set up for business, the church happened to squeeze in on the ordinance to get it done, and then they left whoever it was with a bad deal. Then I have respect and honor the committee, okay, that we help appoint to lead the ordinances, okay, to go by the ordinances. Just like you veterans, I'm sure in the Army you had leaders and you had committees that you sent out and they brought back a recommendation. Did you not go with it? You
Well,
put these,
I
you
do
put these
wanna
people
say
in
this.
place that they go to school, they do hours on planning and zoning, they do, and we kind of rely, because just like the gentleman said, yeah, we're busy being council people.
But I do appreciate something other than a rubber stamp, and that's what happened.
I'm not understanding.
A rubber stamp. You know what a rubber stamp is, don't you?
We take the recommendation of the planning and zoning board,
And that's
no question.
exactly what happened. There was hardly no discussion.
I don't know what are the ramifications? If it were to be rezoned, why wouldn't planning and zoning?
Didn't they take it from the future maps to see if
Yeah,
the
they're just saying
subdivision,
because
see if
it
it
isn't
was gonna
part of-
benefit
Not part of the
the
neighborhood.
community and the neighborhood or not?
No,
No.
not in my opinion.
They just
They-
said the zone change wasn't the reasons were given was that the zone change wasn't part of the existing comprehensive plan and it wasn't part of the future plan.
And that was it.
Yeah, all the surrounding property though is zoned,
No, all the,
Residential.
all the,
residential.
well, I mean, there's like 4 different colors down here, I don't know.
Listen, if anybody's looked at the map, I can't go with spot zoning. There's residential spots in there that are spot zone that we have done
Right.
over the years getting done, okay? So I'm eliminated on the spot zoning deal, okay? That's not the factor for me.
At all.
Because if anybody looks at the map, the zoning map, they're gonna see how it is like that in several residential areas.
Right.
So,
But if you've been by the property, you can't even see a house.
I agree.
You know, you can't. And, it's not like it is residential, obviously, but it's not like you can see a house from,
Any small
Where you
business
at?
that would be conducted there is not gonna interrupt the neighbors.
So the people that own I guess the field, that's got the gate,
That's Lacy and,
Chris Wood.
have you talked to them? Would they are they opposing or nobody?
They're very good friends of mine. There, well, obviously, there was no opposition either time the request was made from any of the surrounding property owners.
I'd like to move on. Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to make a motion that we rezone it.
We don't have the authority to rezone it, Clayton.
We don't?
No.
I thought we had a right to supersede planning and
need to
zoning.
be-
No, you can accept their recommendation, you can deny the recommendation, and start another zone petition on our own and conduct the services of which the Planning and Zoning Board has already conducted on it.
And then
We
need
just,
to-
we just don't have the authority.
Well, I make that motion that we start.
Which
all
one are
over-
you making, Clayton?
That we start all over again.
You deny. You're
Yeah,
gonna
I
make the
deny.
motion to deny their motion. I'll second.
All in favor agrees with Clayton, raise your hand.
Aye.
I tell you, I've been here 4
Now.
years. I've been
Oh,
down
go
here
ahead.
4 years. We've taken the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Board each time that it's come here. It's not always been popular, but, that's reasons people are on that board. Okay.
It's not popular at all. And,
Tyler, you seen the
well,
vote on that?
let me finish.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I think if anybody knows anything about it, where it is, what it's gonna be, most 90% would agree. I'm just reluctant that it had to come to us to start with, because every one of them's gonna be that way that get denied. And that's fine. I've done it for years. But like I said, this is something that, it's just hard to do. And you sit in this spot and, way it is.
So
But
what we're saying is we're taking the motion of the planning and zoning.
No, we're not. We're not approving. it,
Tyler,
we're
does-
not- We're disapproving it, and then we're gonna repost it to consider the rezone of it.
Okay.
And it would have to come back before the council in the form of an ordinance, and it would have to have a first and second reading, because it would be a rezoning.
Tyler, you're the planning zoning guy. Is that what we need? I mean, since we denied it, they can resubmit, or
It does not go back to the commission now.
it does not go back to the commission.
No, they're done. They'll come back before this body.
Yes, and.
Tyler, yeah,
Gotcha.
And it is in the form of an ordinance, and that ordinance is gonna have to be drafted and presented, so.
You got a body shop 50 yards from it. Okay?
yeah.
You talk about that Webb property?
Yes.
Did you say that?
Yes.
Did you say that it would have to come back in the form of ordinance? We'd have to,
We'd have to change that part, yeah.
Yes. It'll have to be, anytime you have a rezoning and it's, an ordinance, so we'll have to have a first, I'll have to draft it,
Yeah.
it'll have to be a first and second
Okay.
reading. Dave handles planning and zoning meetings, so usually he drafts those, but I bring them and present them before the council, so, and then they'll have to be voted on.
okay.
Do we repost the property and have the, like, for a zone change, like the Planning and Zoning Board has done?
It'll just be in the form of an ordinance.
We'll be changing it on the next, that we vote on it.
Yeah, I was thinking that we reposted the property that it's up for a zone change and although hadn't been any input to it, but doing the same thing. But you, Tyler, research that and make sure that we do what's right, and we'll see if it works out.
And I would like to add that I had a conversation with a member of the Planning and Zoning Committee, and they told me how hard of a time that they had with this. But their job is to focus on future land use and the comprehensive land use of the city. And so when that's their main focus, that's what they have to look at. And so I feel like that's why you got denied. And I do feel like this is one of those situations where it's a very unique situation. But I still think highly of all those members of planning and zoning, and I think they do a good job at what they do, but because of the uniqueness of this situation.
Well,
I think it was obvious. I felt like that they all had some empathy for her, but it was almost like they had this specific plan.
Exactly.
And
And
it was really hard for them to deviate.
Please don't think it was rubber stamped, it wasn't. Several of them struggled with
Well,
doing it. Okay, I'm just telling you now, as Jessica said, I talked to a couple of them too, and they were struggling with it. They were struggling there, and that's the first time we'd ever really been,
Well, let me
but we
tell you
can
and
do it.
express my deepest appreciation to you all, because I'm telling you, it's been a real burden for me.
Please make something
You
nice.
had nowhere to go with it, and you bought a
And
piece
I
of
mean-
property, and
And not only just for me, but I mean, I'm thinking of the community too.
Sure.
I really am. And, I mean, it's a beautiful facility
move on.
for our area. And, I'm just really excited about what it can do for all of us.
thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
there was a piece of property several years ago that kind of fell under this same situation. There was a church in a subdivision, and somebody bought that church, quit using it, and the people around it didn't want it to go commercial. But then the person that had it went ahead and built a big three-car garage to store equipment and stuff in and made it commercial. These people fought that for a while, trying to keep it from going in, but planning and zoning and the city, and all allowed this to happen. And who this was your brother.
I thought you were going there.
I mean, it's obvious, it's the same thing if you sit and think about it.
Well, if he went to the planning and zoning board and
Well,
they
that's what I'm
agreed,
saying.
and they agreed to change,
Yeah.
then it come back before the city council, and they, like me, the previous mayor did too, they recommend that the council take the recommendation of the planning and zoning board, and they did in that instance.
I'm sure they did, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it happened in this same thing, it was a church.
The same church, it was,
Only it was in a subdivision with house right on top of it and across from it and all. And why would they approve something like that when all the neighbors didn't want it? But this one, being out in the field, body shop beside it and all of this, you know, I think that's something that could be brought up to planning and zoning and say, hey, you know, let's go out here and look at this and you approve this. Why wouldn't this one be more feasible?
I'm sure the members are not the same. I never-
Why would you just now bring it up?
Why did I?
Yeah.
Just because that was the same thing.
Why wasn't you down here when they did it?
I didn't know who was doing it until I saw a building go up. But what I'm saying, this is the same thing that these people are talking about, why I brought it up. You know, if this wasn't a church in the middle of a subdivision and them
It-
talking,
It was probably already zoned commercial because of a church. Now, I don't know. I don't attend the planning and
I was
zoning
just saying that this.
meetings, and I'd encourage my members not to attend because you get caught in a, what are you for, or who you not for? And it needs to be an independent body, separate and apart with those people who's getting voted on. Because otherwise, people that's running for office will want to change the rules to make it look like, well, I'm looking for votes.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been down here 4 years. I've always recommended to take the planning and zoning boards. That's what they're there for.
That's
Just
exactly.
like the other things,
Yes.
other bodies that we have. I take their recommendation.
Find out what was the difference in this one, why was it approved, and why can't this one they're looking at be approved?
That's a good
That's all I'm saying.
that's a good
When
question
we
for
get
them.
presented them, we look at, each one of them individually. We get
That's
we,
what
we get a packet that shows everything about it, everything to do with it.
You
Who-
said that this had never came up something like this before, and this did come up, you may not have been on the council, but it did.
I
But
said it.
something- You just a while ago said this has never happened before.
That we knew of.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah, that we go against them. Yeah, I don't know of any other time. There may be one or two, but I guarantee it benefited the city, and that was just a
Let's-
problem
let's-
we had to go through.
Let's move on. We want to go home sometime tonight. Approval for Mayor Embry to finalize the deeds for the sale of the bypass property. Is anything you want to say, Earlene?
No, well, just a few things. The closing is gonna be taking place Wednesday at 3 o'clock. It was posted on the door, so, we invite, the public to be there and, be present. We posted that on the door. The deed, This coming Wednesday will be October 19th, I believe, at 3 o'clock here at City Hall. There's going to be the closing on the bypass property. We posted that on the door if the public wishes to attend. And the council will need to take a vote for the mayor to enter the deed and closing documents regarding the sale of the bypass property.
Do I hear that motion?
I make a motion.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I tell you what,
Is
this
that everybody?
represents yeah, they all voted aye. This represents a big step for Leitchfield, a tremendous step. This is equal to or better than new industry coming here. We've worked tirelessly to get this. A lot of it's been on the corporation of the tourism board. We've paid $10,000 to a group out of Wisconsin called the Court Extension Group, answering the question, can Litchfield support a hotel? And they came back, we cannot support a 100-room hotel, but we could have 50 and 60 room. So when we done that, we first went to the Hatfield family and asked them, did they want to do it? And the granddaughter said that her grandparents said that they were just not up to, at their age of stage of life. And this would not have happened had it not been for the corporation, Judge Henderson and fiscal court. So I want to give them, they're invited as well. We want to give them as much credit as we take ourselves. And it will be, you'll see more announcements Wednesday. I don't want to jump the gun on announcements.
And I do just want to add that the bypass property falls in economic development, and we had discussed that previously. And so just want to make sure that's in the minutes, that it is improving economic development for the community.
Okay, we're down to executive session. KRS 61.810-1-C, pending litigation. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion.
I second? No, I'm not going to second.
I'll second.
Jessica, we all in favor?
Aye.
I want to hear a motion to return back in session.
So move.
Second? Clayton, did you second?
Yes.
All in favor? Erling, tell us what we talked about briefly.
We had an executive session on pending litigation. There is a current complaint filed in the Grayson Circuit Court, and I just wanted to give the council an update on those procedures, so.
Thank you, Erling. We're down to unfinished business. Wes, want to give us a garbage can update?
And I'll take over. Those are waiting on me in dealing with some emails and everything, and hopefully I'll
Okay.
have another update at the next meeting.
And Erling and I both talked about the mobile home program, a rough draft. She's kind of working on that
I've included that rough draft.
in her package.
Yes, everybody
And what was the
should-
price on that we decided on, Erling?
I had talked about last time that I was gonna present everybody with a rough draft to look at. So there's a rough draft of the mobile home and manufactured home, and then there's also one for the business commercial property. What I'd like to do is to be able to bring this resolution back the next time, and then we just take a vote on it.
What's her price on the,
The mobile homes, for a single wide's $150, and then $250 for a double wide. And then on the business, I have a blank space for basing it on square footage. So I would just need some instruction on what you all would like to do on that, and I can include that, and in the next meeting, we could vote on it.
we can tread lightly down this road, and what happens, we run into an issue that it's creating more of a trouble at Public Works than what we thought it was, or it's, more expensive, more cumbersome, we just repeal the ordinance and go back at it and look at it again or something. We got the house thing down pat, but there's some old buildings and we got to do them by square footage. And Wes has got to have some idea of what it costs us to get rid of, say, 100 by 100 building.
Agreed.
And it's not that we want to make profit, we want to get rid of these even at a loss, but we don't want to be too much. And I got the mobile home thing from Henderson, Kentucky, so that might be a call. Maybe Tyler, somebody tell Tyler to call Henderson, Kentucky.
Does anybody have any ideas on what they think on price or anything, just to throw some ideas out there?
You said 150 for a single wide and 250 for a double, is that what you said?
That's what some numbers were given to me, so I just stuck
That's
them
when
in
we
there.
kind of talked about it before, too.
Seems like it'd be harder to get rid of the metal and stuff though, wouldn't it, Wes?
Well, I mean, you can take it to the recycling.
See, the trailers
You
got
take it to
value, the
Candyville,
frames
can't
got
you? Sell it.
Stuff
value.
like that, the siding and stuff like that, I mean, it'll just have to be wadded up, put the trailer and sent to Ohio County, but basically the frame will be about all that you'd be able to do anything with.
Yeah.
as far
We
as-
don't want to get rid of mobile homes to have something put back in it, place, that's worse than, or equal worse than what came out of it.
Yeah.
But those
And we-
steel beams would have to be cut in half or up in pieces, wouldn't they, to get rid of them? On a mobile
Steel
home?
beams, underneath the frame,
Yeah.
well, we would just pull it to Candyville and just sell it to the recyclers down there, frame and all.
Lambert and Margie's got one on, out by their property that's a disgrace, and they are working on that.
They are,
And they're wanting to participate in the program, he's done talked to me.
Okay.
So is everybody okay with the 150 and 250, or do you want them
Yeah.
increased, decreased, or?
Listen, we
That cover
got,
you, Wes?
I don't, it's hard to say, I mean,
Should we
understand.
start with just doing the single wides like we had talked about, and then edit the
Make an
ordinance
amendment?
later on if we see that that's gonna work out okay?
We can do that. I can take out double wide, just leave single wide.
What do you
Can
think,
always-
Wes?
I think that would probably be better, because that kind of
Okay.
gives us a start,
yeah,
because you don't want to be taking everything
Yeah,
and
you-
then you reset already.
I understand.
You know, if we take single wides and we're losing horribly on it, then we may have to readjust with double wides.
the money-making process that we see in this is to improve property value of these, getting these things off these properties. In the neighborhood, like take Lambert and Margie's neighborhood, how much better would that be if that wasn't out there? That, okay, we're looking for volunteers for Safe Spot that's gonna be, at the fairgrounds on the 31st, isn't it?
Yes.
And we don't want to send employees out there. We're working, look for volunteers that would come out there. So, check your schedule. You want to come out, and there'll be about 10,000 kids come through there.
What time, 5
It's 5 to 8.
to 8?
5 to 8. And if the weather's pretty, you know there'll be 10,000 people. David Rowley, you got anything you want to talk to us about?
I do.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you guys know that our body cams come in. We're working on right now. I'm going through model policies. I'll pass those policies on to Earlene and let her look them over and everything before they're approved. Axon actually sent a representative down and did some training with our supervisors. We're gonna pass that on to the other officers, because we wanna have everything absolutely perfect before we start implementing the body cams and have everything in order, but, I think they're gonna be a great asset. To
Oh, I do too.
To the police department, to the community.
I do too, David.
I think it'll be good. I hope to have those, in place no later than within a month. Everything approved and everything in order.
Good job. West Shore, was you done, David?
I was, yeah.
West Shore,
I'm good.
you sure? Earlene?
Just briefly, for YouTube world, if any of the city council candidates have not turned in your financial packets, just make sure you do so. I think Lori and I had looked at the list last week, and I think there's only one remaining that has not turned that packet in.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Sabrina?
And then also to invite everybody, just another reminder, Wednesday at 3 o'clock for the.
Wednesday through, Sabrina?
I'm good.
Tammy? What about a walking track?
Well, we've got the rock down, and if everything goes well,
Hopefully Scotty's will be there this week.
yes.
Yeah, I went over there through it Saturday on my bicycle, and, it's really gonna be nice. It's gonna be a good addition to the park. And I talked to Tammy. I wanna work on, pickleball court. And we got money, didn't we appropriate money for that in the new budget? Well, we'll find it. Judy's got a lot of money. Yeah. Lambert, is there anything you want to tell us?
No, I mean, this is my first time here since they was open. I come during construction,
Uh-huh.
it's really nice.
It is nice.
I kinda enjoyed it and not enjoyed it, but.
Well, I know how that is. Pudgy Alley? You sure? Ruby? You girls want to, before you leave?
No, I'm good. I just am still wondering when the lights are gonna be.
Well, they came in. They didn't have the other lights, but they came in. And Aaron's going to put those in, aren't they, Wes?
If nothing happens between now and tomorrow morning, he's supposed to start tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, something may come up between now and then, so it may be a day or two.
I just.
When I left this afternoon, there was orders for them to start on that in the morning, so.
Yeah, they came in. I knew they had.
That's all I wanted was.
Josh, you want to say something? Was you done, Teresa?
Yes, sir.
Josh? Tammy?
Good, sir.
Moon Smith?
I'm good.
Clayton Miller?
I've got two things, Wes, and I know this is everybody's probably wanting it done, but had a call, and I went out there on Johnson Street, the end next to,
Salt River.
yeah. And about 4 or 5 houses up from Kevin's apartments on the left, the ditch starts out in one house, and it's like this, and they mow over it. Then you come over here and you've got your culvert, and it's halfway full and it needs digging out. But then you go on to the other side of it, and you go on down and you got another yard like that. And one of the gentlemen out there was showing me he started digging his out himself. But all that down through there, they're wanting to see if there's not something, because they've had water the last time coming up into their houses. And some of the culverts, there's some culverts and there's some not. What can we do about that?
Which part of Johnson is it?
It's the side,
You turn off Salt River by Bird Tool,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there by the factory.
so it'll be on the right-hand side as you go out.
Be on the left-hand side after you turn off Salt River Road.
Those Condor rental homes.
All the
Yeah, the
roads
Connors
down through there.
homes.
All the yards are
All of
running,
them-
the
all of them
water has
below
to
the
go
road.
behind it.
But
Looks
one,
like you look
one
and
of
see.
theirs isn't getting any water because their culverts are empty and cleaned out and,
I'd say very little water runs down the ditches there just because of the way their yards are towards the back of the house. But I'll have them go out there and look and see what we can do as far as ditching out through there.
that, and then also out here on Brandenburg Road, where, Mark Napier, and there's 3 or 4 houses, maybe 4 houses before you get to the dollar store along there. It's about the same situation.
Yeah.
Some of the tiles are stopped up, and the one tile didn't have that much room in there.
I'll get with the state on that because they normally do the ditching on their state right of ways. through there.
Okay, all right.
Who
appreciate
bush
it.
hogged 62 west, going toward Clarkson?
I'm not sure.
The highway department?
They could have, but David's also been bush hogging this past couple of weeks. So
That was looking awful up there.
he could have got it.
I know they done the bypass. Clayton, did you have anything else?
No, sir.
Margie,
I don't have anything tonight.
you sure?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Jessica?
I have a couple of things. I just want to let everybody know that Owensboro Health Twin Lakes is having an open house on October 20th from 2:30 to 4:30. They're going to be doing free health screenings. All of our new physicians are going to be there to meet and greet with the community. And then I had a couple of questions. Do you have an update on the website? I know that we
I
agreed to
asked
do that.
Lori, and she said that somebody's gotten sick. The woman, was there a woman involved?
Yeah, I mean, with Heartland.
Yeah. I asked her, I said, we've not heard anything from her website. She said, well, either the man's wife or somebody in the organization that was a female has gotten seriously ill and put it off. Now, that's the
Okay.
last report.
I
And
may
Lori's
follow up
off the
with
rest
them.
of the week.
Okay, I'll follow up with them on the website.
That
and
should have
then-
been done. I can't understand why it's taking so long.
Email that Lori sent out about the website? She sent out an email last Friday, I believe. Something about that we needed updated headshots and stuff.
And they should do that, right? They're gonna
Yeah,
come and take those
Said
pictures.
they would, yeah.
Yeah, so you should have gotten the email.
Yeah, that's
Let
for
me know. I'll-
30 minutes before the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think
I don't know if I got that.
I don't know the full detail on it, but it's trying to find this.
November though.
No,
It was sent last Friday because I got it after I got the agenda.
Seventh.
Yeah, November the 7th, yeah.
Anything else, Jessica?
And then do we have an update on that money that we signed off, that the counties and cities are gonna get from Purdue Pharma, the settlement with the opioid companies that the state of Kentucky was gonna get? Remember when we signed that?
I don't know any of that.
I didn't know
story.
if we had heard word on how much money we were getting as a
I don't know
community,
that,
or.
Jessica.
I don't
sorry.
believe we've got any updates at this time, and that's gonna be, I believe, a long process. but-
Okay.
And I can check on it, but I don't think we've got any updates right now.
I
Okay.
think KLC has been kind of keeping stuff on their website, so if you'll go to, do you get the KLC emails?
Yeah.
I've seen a couple things on there. I haven't really read a whole lot into it, but I think that when they do put it out there, I believe they'll put it out there on the KLC website, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just kind of watch that. If I see one come through that says something about it, I can forward it to you.
Okay, cool. That's all I have.
Jessica's gonna have, start having our community health assessment program here the first Wednesday of each month.
The Community Health Committee that Owensboro Health Twin Lakes leads, it's composed of several different sectors within the community are part of that committee, and we'll be meeting the first Wednesday of every month at lunchtime here at City Hall.
And Jennifer, our new human resources officer, will be attending that. We've also hired a girl in accounts payable, and her name is Mandy
Higdon?
Higdon, yeah, I was gonna say Mandy Higdon. Where was she at? Where'd she come from? She-
Plasticon, I think?
Yeah, for a number of years.
Yeah, she was there for a number of years.
Yeah, I think today was her first day,
Yeah.
matter of fact. Are you done, Jessica?
Uh-huh.
Billy Dallas?
Pudgy, when they gonna start putting water down?
Pretty soon.
Pretty soon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna be pumping water, and they're already,
Yeah.
the test process.
Right. So they got a date, or are they just waiting on
Well,
something else?
they got a final
Gotcha.
inspection they gotta go
Billy, we'll have a ribbon cutting or something when we get it. They're just kind of ironing out kinks. Lori and I went out there, last Thursday. Did you go with us? Just Lori and I? Last Thursday.
I was hardworking.
Needs to be done out there.
There's still a lot of work needs to be done out there, but, yeah, the floor looks, it's not quite right. No. But the black topping, the yard looks good. The plaque's not in yet. Billy, you got anything else?
all I have.
And I hear a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?